Today I'm going to show you a great technique for picking things up off the ground, either small or big and heavy, that shifts the load off of the spine. You may have already heard of the golfer's pickup, which is a technique golfers use to pick up their golf ball off of the green. And it may seem like a natural technique for golfers with the golf club in one hand to shift their weight down and pick something up off the ground using the golf club as support. But this technique also has other benefits that help take the load off of their spine. So we're going to break this down and offer some modifications and alternatives that can make this applicable in every scenario where you may not have a golf club in your hand. When you bend down to pick something up symmetrically, such as in a deadlift or a squat, the mechanical load, or the force vector, goes straight up through the middle of your body, through your spine. And this does put load on the spine if you're not using your muscles properly. So with the golfer's pickup, what it accomplishes is it shifts your weight over to one side, shifting that mechanical load, or the force vector, through the side, through one leg and up the side of your body, placing more load on the muscles rather than the spine. So it's requiring you to use your muscles more automatically by shifting that force vector more into the region where your muscles are. But there are some limitations to the golfer's pickup. One being that it requires you to have balance if you don't have a golf club to help keep your balance. Also, it requires space for you to be able to kick your leg back. And third, it requires you to favor picking things up with one hand rather than two hands. And some objects do require two hands to pick up. So we're going to make some modifications to this golfer's pickup to make it more applicable in your daily life. It doesn't actually require you to lift one leg back in order to accomplish this same thing of shifting the force of load to the side of your body. You can actually just favor one leg by shifting your weight over onto that leg and keep your other leg on the ground as a little bit of extra support. So it's kind of like a modified deadlift where it's asymmetrical and you're shifted to one side. And we can do this to any degree. So I'm going to show you some examples of this modified golfer's pickup with both feet on the ground to different degrees of modification. So first, you can just have your foot on the ground just subtly, where your toes are on the ground, but providing you that extra balance, and that'll allow you to hinge forward and pick something up off the ground with two hands and also maintain your balance. And you can also just set up just like a deadlift, but the object that you're picking up is going to be closer to your dominant leg, whichever leg that you're choosing to shift your weight onto. And so your stance is exactly the same as a deadlift. You're shifting your weight over to one side, picking up the object, and that force vector, that mechanical load, that line of force is going to be shifted over to the side of your dominant leg. And this is going to encourage the muscles on that side of your body to become more active because there's no bony support like your spine right down your center of gravity anymore. And we can no longer rely on your spine as the primary source of stability. The other thing that the golfer's pickup does, and also these modifications, is it forces you to do more of a hip hinge rather than a rounding or bending of the spine, which we should not do when picking up objects off the floor. The muscles around your core should be used to stabilize your spine and support your spine, while the bending or hinging happens at your hips. So the golfer's pickup forces you to do more of a hip hinge, and these modified variations also should do the same because we are shifting everything, the mobility and the load, away from the spine and more onto the hip and the side of your body. You want to make sure to perform this technique on both sides so you're not creating a left-right imbalance in your body. And in fact, most of us already have some form of a left-right imbalance in our body. We have a dominant side or a dominant leg, and some of us have it to a severe degree that can cause something like scoliosis. So you can use this technique as a therapy for your body to restore left-right balance in your body by performing it more on the weaker side of your body so it can catch up to your dominant or strong side. So for me, my right leg has always been my dominant leg. So I tend to perform this weight-shifted pickup technique more on my left side because it's building strength in my left leg every time I pick something up. And this is helping to maintain and restore balance in my left and right sides of my body, which is good therapy for me. And so this technique is not only great for offloading your spine, but also as a therapy which you can use to help restore muscular balance in your body, which is the goal of core balance training. So I hope you enjoy learning this technique. It does take some practice, so I encourage you to start with something small and build your way up and feel your weight shift over to your left or right side of your body and feel the load shift with it. And your muscular engagement will change and adapt to that load shift, and you should feel it more in your muscles rather than on your spine. And this can be really effective for taking the load off and being able to pick things up a little more pain-free. If you want to learn more about restoring balance in your body and reconnecting to your core, I encourage you to check out the Core Balance Training Program's 7-day free trial. I'll be back next week to talk about a different topic for getting out of the back pain cycle for good. And until then, get down on the floor and connect to your core.